Hey guys, Miss Amanda here, and this week we are talking about fairy tales. One of my favorite things. I love reading stories and hearing about fairy tales and all the magical things that happen, and then them living happily ever after. And so today I thought we would make up our own fairy tale. I have two books that we're going to do. This one's called Once Upon a Time, and then this one's called Ahoy Pirate Pete. And in our book, you get to make the choice of what is going to happen. So will you help me read our story? You will? Great. And you're going to help me make up our own fairy tale? Awesome. Okay, let's get started. We're going to start with Once Upon a Time. It's a story about a princess, okay? Who gets some wishes. And so we're going to help her figure out what she wants to wish for. Are you ready? All right, here we go. Once Upon a Time by Nick Sharratt. Okay? We're going to make up our own story about our princess. Here's our princess. See our princess? Is our princess a boy or a girl? She's a girl. Very good. Once upon a time, there was a beautiful princess. She lived on top of a hill. But what did she live in? Let's decide. What does she live in? Does she live in a house? Does she live in a castle? Does she live in a tent? Does she live in a teapot? Does she live in a tree house? Or does she live in a camper? Which one does she live in? Princesses usually live in a castle. You're right. We could choose any of them for our story. Maybe we'll go back and read it again and we'll do something silly next time, like a tree house. So she lives on top of a hill in a castle. Where does she live? In a castle. Very good. Now, the princess lives all by herself, except for her pet named Fred. What kind of pet does she have? Do you think she has an octopus, a goldfish, a rabbit, a bat, a dragon, or a dog? What kind of pet does the princess have? You want to pick the dragon? Oh, that's awesome. So our princess lives in a castle on a hill with her pet dragon, and his name is Fred. What is his name? It's Fred, right? Fred the dragon. Let's see what comes next in our story. One day, when the beautiful princess was out walking, she met a magic... What is she gonna meet? A duck, a unicorn, a fairy, a toilet, a bear, or a pumpkin? You want her to meet the fairy? Okay. I'll put the fairy right here. One day, the beautiful princess was out walking and she met a magic fairy. Wow, I love our story so far. Let's see what happens. This fairy said, "Beautiful princess, today is your lucky day because I will grant you 3 wishes." So the beautiful princess thought very hard about what she wanted to wish for. What would you wish for? That's a cool wish. Let's see what she wished for. First, she wished for something to eat for dinner. What did she want to eat for dinner? An egg, chocolate, carrot, a worm, a cupcake, or a hamburger? You want her to pick the cupcake? Okay. Alright, she wished for a cupcake for dinner for her first wish. Now her second wish, she wished for a brand new what? You think she wants shoes, pencils, a computer, a ball, a bike, or a dress? Yes, our princess will probably want a dress. So she's got a cupcake for dinner, and a brand new dress. And now let's see what her third wish is. Do you know what her third wish is going to be? She wished to be married. Who do you think she's going to marry? The prince, a pirate, a clown, a pop star, a spaceman, or a frog? Who should the princess marry? The prince! Yes, and she wished for a prince so that she could get married. There they are, the princess and the prince. And all of her wishes came true. The end. Did you like our story? Should we make it a silly story now? Let's make it a silly story now. So our story, remember, is about a beautiful princess. But instead of living in a castle, where's somewhere silly she could live? Do we live in a house? Yeah, we can live in a house. Can you live in a castle? Yep, you can live in a castle. Can you live in a camper? You can live in a camper. What about a tree house? Could you live in a tree house? You could. What about a tent? Can you sleep in a tent? What about a teapot? Do you sleep in a teapot? Do you live in a teapot? No. So we are going to make her live in a teapot on top of the hill. Look at our silly story. Alright. Now let's see what kind of pet she's going to have. What kind of silly pet could she have? Some people have a dog for a pet. Some people have a rabbit for a pet. Some people have a goldfish for a pet. But I've never seen anybody with a dragon, a bat, or an octopus. Which one should she have? This one? This one? The octopus. That's a good choice. What color is that octopus? He's purple. And do you remember what she said his name was? Fred. Fred the octopus lived with her in her teapot. My goodness, our story is so silly. Now, instead of meeting a fairy, what's something silly she could meet? The bear with the hat's pretty silly. And the pumpkin's pretty silly, but what about this? The toilet. Yes, one day when she was out walking, she met a magic toilet. How silly is that? Do you know any toilets that can talk? No. She met a toilet. And this toilet said to her, "Beautiful princess, today is your lucky day because I will grant you 3 wishes." And the beautiful princess thought very hard. Remember, our story is going to be silly, okay? So what do you think she wants to eat for dinner? What is she going to wish for? Something silly here. Can you eat a hamburger? Yes. Can you eat an egg? Yes. Can you eat a cupcake? Yes. Do you eat chocolate? Yes. Can you eat a carrot? Yes. Do we eat worms? No! So that is what she is going to wish for dinner, to be so silly. She's eating a worm for dinner. Now remember, her second wish was to get something shiny and brand new. Now all of these are pretty good gifts. So which one should we pick? Maybe the pencil case. So she could have a nice shiny bike or a nice computer, but instead she's going to wish for this silly pencil case. It's a very pretty pencil case, though. Alright, and the last one is who she's going to marry. So we know she marries the prince. But let's see somebody silly she could marry. She can marry a prince. She could marry a pirate. She could marry a clown. She could marry a pop star. She could marry a spaceman. But what about a frog? Do you marry a frog? Ew, no. That would be gross and silly. So we're going to say that she wished for a frog. And all her wishes came true. So there's our silly story. We had the princess story and then a silly story. And now we're going to read about pirates. Are you ready? Ahoy, Pirate Pete. Alright, so we're going to read the fairy tale and then we're going to do a silly one, okay? One day, Pirate Pete was sailing the ocean blue. Look, what's he riding in? Is he in a car? He's in a boat, right. Do you know what color that boat is? Is that boat yellow or brown? It is brown, you're right. And look, what's he riding the boat on? Is he on the road or is he on the water? He's on the water in the ocean. And what color is that ocean? Blue, very good. And look what he has on his head. A hat. What color is that? It's red and white, very good. And then his sail for his boat is what color? Green and white, very good. Then he has a pirate flag at the top. And what two colors is the pirate flag? Black and white. Great, you're so smart. Alright, so one day our Pirate Pete is sailing the ocean blue. Shiver me timbers, he said. I see a blank in the sky. What do you think he's going to see in the sky? Usually, you see a seagull flying above the ocean. You ever been to the beach and see all those birds flying around you? They're called a seagull. So shiver me timbers, he said, I see a seagull in the sky. One-eyed Wanda rode past, and she had on, what is she going to wear on her head? Remember, we're pirates, so she could wear a pirate hat. You're right, very good. There's her pirate hat. One-eyed Wanda rode past, and she had a pirate hat on her head. Do you know why she's called One-eyed Wanda? Because she has one eye. One-eyed Wanda. Now, Pirate Pete looked down in the ocean, and guess what he saw? We're going to say he saw a shark in the water. Oh my. We saw a shark in the water. Ahoy there, he said. He's trying to talk to the shark. Just then, Captain Stubble went by. That way to the treasure, he cries, pointing. What's he going to point? What do you think the pirate has in his hand? What should a pirate have in his hand? A teddy bear, an umbrella, a lobster, a sock, or a sword? Yeah, he should have his sword. That way to the treasure, he cried, pointing his sword. Everybody point that way to the treasure. Tell Pirate Pete where the treasure is, this way. Good job. Soon, Pirate Pete found the desert island. Yo ho ho, he said. I must find out what's in that treasure chest. What do you think is in that treasure chest? What do you think is inside? Well, let's see what's inside the treasure chest. He opened it up. He lifted the lid, and inside, what do you see? What do you normally see inside of a treasure chest? Gold, that's right. He sees gold inside of the treasure chest. The perfect gift for Mom, he says. He's going to take the gold home to his mom. That's so very nice. Alright, there was our story about our pirate. Now we're going to make a silly story about our pirate. Are you ready? So remember, Pirate Pete here, he's sailing on what? On the road or on the ocean? He's on the ocean. And what's he riding in? Oh, you're right. So here we go, Pirate Pete, on our boat. Remember, we're making this silly. So what should we see in the sky? Something that's really silly. A pig would be really silly. Or a donut. Which one should we pick? You want to do the donut? Okay. Shiver me timbers, he says, I see a donut in the sky. Oh, that is so silly. Then, one-eyed Wanda rode past. Let's see what she has on her head. What are we going to put on her head? There's lots of silly things we could put on her head. Like a fish. Do you ever have a fish on your head? Nope. Or a purse. That would be super silly. Or cake. Or even a parrot. What should she have on her head? A cake? My goodness, look at her. One-eyed Wanda has a cake on her head. Where is the cake? On her head. Very good. Alright, well now Pete's going to look down and what's he going to see in the water? What's something silly he could see in the water? Do you think he should see a mermaid, a dolphin, a duck, a giraffe, a diver, or a shark? What's something that's silly that doesn't belong in the water? He does not go in the water. A giraffe. Very good. Where do we see a giraffe? Do you see him in the water? No, he's in the water now, but they're not normally in the water. Where do you see a giraffe? Do you see a giraffe in your backyard or at the zoo? At the zoo, you're right. We see a giraffe at the zoo. What's he doing in the water? So silly. But Pirate Pete looked down and saw him and said, "Ahoy, matey." And then Captain Stubble came by. And instead of pointing his sword, what's he going to point to? What's he going to point with? Something silly. You think the sock would be silly? I bet so. Have you ever held up a stinky sock to point? Oh, look how funny. He holds up the sock and says, "Treasure this way." Thanks, says Pirate Pete. So now Pirate Pete makes it to the island, remember, and he sees the treasure chest. And he's wondering what's inside the treasure chest. And remember, we're trying to make our story silly. So we're going to take the gold out of the treasure chest. And what are we going to put in the treasure chest? Something silly. You think a crocodile would be silly? Oh, that might be scary. He's got a crocodile inside of the treasure chest. And guess what he says? It's the perfect gift for Mom. He's taking the crocodile home to Mom. Do you think she would like that? No, I don't think so either. I would be super scared. Alright, well there are my fairy tale stories, and that's what's so fun about fairy tales is you can make up your own story. It can be however you want it to be, okay? So you have fun, you make up some stories, and I will talk to you guys next week. Bye!